Good morning. Welcome to a new week's devotions to start your day. My name is Paul and I am a member of Andover Baptist Church. As many of you will know, the church here has a logo about the subject of next steps. There it is behind me. We will talk about that in particular later in the week. Today we start by thinking about next steps in more general terms. What next steps have I made already today? Well, I got out of bed. It seemed like the obvious thing to do because in bed I couldn't get myself any breakfast. I got dressed because going out in my pajamas isn't right, well, for me. So I started a whole series of next steps leading to where I am now. We live life in a concept of time that is always filled with next steps. Many of them are automatic, habitual, and generally unimportant. However, in Genesis, we start reading about some steps taken by a man called Abram, later to be called Abraham. These are life steps of importance, but they all start with the simple one, foot in front of another, first step. This is what we read in Genesis, the first book of the Old Testament, part of the Bible, chapter 11 and reading to chapter 12, verses 1, and then verse 4. It says this: Terah took his son Abram, his grandson Lot of Haran, and his daughter-in-law Sarai, the wife of his son Abram, and together they set out from Ur of the Chaldeans to go to Canaan. But when they came to Haran, they settled there. Terah lived 205 years and he died in Haran. Then we read in Genesis chapter 12 verse 1. The Lord had said to Abraham, leave your country, your people and your father's household and go to the land I will show you. And then in verse 4. So Abraham left as the Lord had told him, and Lot went with him. Abraham was 75 years old when he set out from Haran. Now this is an interesting part of a wider and greater story about God's plan to create the nation of Israel from which Jesus would come. Do we always do what our dad tells us? Do we even ask his opinion before we start doing something? I know I didn't. Even as a teenager, I didn't always do as I was told, and I chose my own path and actions without any reference to my dad. In this story, Abram is already married to Sarai, but Terah, Abram's dad, took them all off from Ur of the Chaldeans, which was well down the river Euphrates. Up to the north they went, and west to Haran, which was near the headwaters of the Euphrates River. There's no indication that Abraham had a choice in this, although it suits me to believe that dad and son discussed what they were about to do. But ultimately, back in their society, I believe that dad, Terah, made the final decision, and Abram was expected to do as he was told. It is a major step in his life that may not have been his choosing. The next step is different again. As God the Father speaks to Abram and tells him to move on, leave your country, your people, and your father's household and go to the land I will show you. The next step for Abram, in fulfilling God the Father's call to make from him a great nation, is simply to obey the call of God the Father. And so Abram sets off and makes his next step along his life's way, and he does it in faith. In the New Testament part of the Bible, in the book of Luke, chapter 9, verse 51, we read about Jesus and an important next step he takes. This is what it says in Luke 9:51. As the time approached for him to be taken up to heaven, Jesus resolutely set out for Jerusalem. It's always been a surprise to me that so early in Luke's account of the life of Jesus, we read that Jesus resolutely set out for Jerusalem. The intentional nature of this insight and action Help me to understand our church's idea of next steps. It's not about next steps in our lives that we take without much thought and often out of habit. The getting up, eating a meal, mowing the lawn, or whatever it might be. The next steps on the church's graphic are major, intentional and understood next steps in our journey with God. We will look at them together tomorrow morning. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks and praise for the world around us that you created, for the joy of fresh green leaves, birds singing and the sunshine that warms us. As we step out into this new day, we pray for your guidance and presence with us, so that all the steps we take move us in the direction you want us to go. Guard our tongues and strengthen our hearts as we seek to follow you. Amen. Well, thanks for joining me this morning. I pray that we all have a good day, and I look forward to being with you again tomorrow morning.